Okay, you guys, let's just go with what we know. Okay, I'm going to make this as easy as I can on myself. Okay, and I hope that you guys enjoy it as well. Okay, so we know that there were 30 people in this season and only 10 were matched. Okay, and so, what we're going to talk about is, first of all, the reactions of the couples. Okay, the couples that we ended up with. And excuse my page turning. I got my notes here. The ones we ended up with were the couples that we ended up with were Clay, that's Clay right there, and AD. Okay. Yeah, Johnny, that's Johnny, and Amy. Jimmy, he's over here, and Chelsea. Jeremy, this is Jeremy, and Laura. Kenneth, and Brittany. And that's the ones that we ended up with, okay? So, as far as when they first met and their first impressions of each other, I wanted to go through that because I think that means a lot too. The reaction for Clay and AD, it was, he loved seeing her. He thought that she was pretty, and he checked out her body, and she made sure that she let him see her body. And it seems as though they were happy with each other's opinion of each other. Amy and Johnny. Johnny was floored how lovely Amy looked like. By the way, Amy looks like Fran Dresser, who used to play the nanny. And let me see. She said that she never dated a blonde, but he's cute. Okay, so they seem to have liked each other. Let's see. Chelsea and Jimmy. Chelsea was happy to see Jimmy. But Jimmy was somewhat a little let down because, she threw that whole Megan Fox thing in there. And of course, you get people's mind working and overload. Or am I going to see someone that looks like Megan Fox? And she has the hair and the eye, I guess, thing or something. But no, Chelsea, you're not. Someone was being really nice to you by saying that. So, but even though excuse me guys, that's my other computer, but even though Chelsea was exactly not what he was looking for, he still was pretty impressed. So they seemed somewhat happy with each other. Okay. Kenneth and Brittany, Kenneth was very happy how beautiful Brittany looked, and she apparently, envisioned him as a stocky African-American man. And that's exactly what she got. And she was really happy to see him as well. So we know all the couples now, and, they all went on their honeymoon. And so, the main focus of the main thing that sort of, popped at the honeymoon was the mixer. And so we're going to discuss the mixer. Clay and AD were getting their loving on. However, at the mixer, Clay tended to, I don't know if it was just me or not, it seemed as though Clay tended to leave AD a lot, and he would just walk off. And so anyway, she ended up talking to other people, which happened to be other men, because the women were hating on her for having a nice body. Let's take a moment for AD's body, okay? The girl got a body, okay? She got the booty, she got the boobs, she got everything. Small waistline, Betty Boop, a boobity doo, okay? So let's just take a moment for that. So anyway, Jimmy just so happily mentions too, while he's standing there talking to Chelsea, oh, that girl, she's stacked. And, I haven't heard that terminology in a matter of fact, in a long time. But that means that a woman's really built, well built. And I mean, Chelsea just did not like that at all. And so her way of dealing with it was her way of dealing with it brought out her insecurities more. And it started to fume, her. And so she called herself, using that as a way of maybe diminishing AD. But she called out to AD and she was like, hey, how you get a body like that? Something on that terms. And she just shook her butt some more, honey. She just shook that butt some more, okay? And so anyway, Jimmy goes over to smooth things over with AD, and Chelsea fumes over that because she thought that the conversation between him and her went on too long, but Jimmy looked like he was enjoying his talk with AD. And they were just like, it was a little flirtatious. AD's very flirtatious, eyelashes and all. We'll talk about those later, okay? Girl, just take those things off, okay? You don't need it. You don't need it. You're beautiful, brown, beautiful woman. You don't need those long eyelashes. They don't make you. You make you, okay? And maybe a little, fixing of the crown too. Maybe a different install. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. Like I said, Jimmy was enjoying the conversation, and Chelsea sits there in disdain and tells the other women how she feels, including Laura. And so, they're all like sort of like looking over at AD like she's the enemy or something. But anyway, Jeremy's over there with Jimmy, AD, Clay, and they're all sitting around and just talking, and mentions about bean pieing. Now, I've never heard of bean pieing because they don't try me like that. Okay. They just don't try me like that. And so bean pieing, I guess, is some kind of way that, and I don't mean this to be racist or anything. So any of my white viewers, please don't take it the wrong way, but I do believe in standing up for Black rights. And I believe this is when someone takes a Black woman's tit and smashes it between their hand. And I guess because of the shade of our skin, they think that it looks like a bean pie. I don't know exactly what the hell that's supposed to mean, but okay. So anyway, Clay, so anyway, Jeremy mentions, did I say Jeremy before? I meant Jeremy. Jeremy mentions to, everyone who's sitting over there, which is Jimmy, Jeremy, Clay, and AD, that Laura asked him to bean pie AD. And AD looked at him and said, yeah, that wouldn't have ended well. And then also Clay said, yeah, man, I'm not happy with that. And so then they call Miss Laura over. Miss Thing right here. I do get racist undertones from her and her. But anyway, that could be just me. I don't know, but that's what I see. Okay. So anyway, let's get into it. So she comes over, and she was caught in a prejudice situation, and I guess she thinks, Black women's tits look like bean pies, like I said. How rude and racist I thought that was. Chelsea is also a racist, because it seemed as though it was some kind of talk that she had about when she was addressing like why Jimmy thought that AD was so attractive or whatever, as far as her body or whatever. It seemed as though she had it was like some kind of superiority complex, like how could you like that, and I just don't like those kind of innuendos. So I didn't mention Kenneth and Brittany because I don't remember seeing them at the mixer, but they probably were. I believe they were, but I just don't. They were at the mixer. Anyway, as far as Kenneth and Brittany, it seems as though like they really enjoyed each other's company and everything like that. They prayed together and things of that nature. They went on a massage together, and the massage was really nice, but it just seemed like there was something missing there. It was just like there were two people just enjoying each other's company and not a couple. And so after they finished the massage, it seems as though, Brittany was trying to have some connection time with Kenneth, and like he was sitting there and she was like, yeah, I really like the massage, we should put that in the budget. He was like, okay, and it just seems like they agreed with that. But then he just went to looking out at the blue water, And it was like he looked like right past her, like to the blue water. And he said like something like, "Look at this. It's so beautiful," And she was like, "Yeah, it's the beach." This one she, it looks like that's what she was thinking to herself. And then later they went on a boat ride. It's supposed to have been like a romantic boat ride. Most people would have made it into a romantic boat ride. It was their honeymoon. But Kenneth and Brittany were just sitting there, just enjoying the air, looking at their surroundings and everything. And, it looked like, she wanted to snuggle up or whatever like that. But, he was just paying her dust. He's looking out at the blue water like, yeah, this is really nice, just looking over to the side and everything, like this is really nice. And then they move up to the front of the ship and they sort of lay out, and you can tell that she wanted to get like sort of close and snuggle and stuff like that, and he just wasn't having it. But let me tell you, when they got around those dolphins that was up in the water, ooh wee, he had a field day with that. He was like, ooh, I love swimming with the dolphins. I swim with the dolphins for you. You ever swim with the dolphins? I swim with the dolphins, And he was just like carrying on, boy. He was just like carrying on. That was his thing right there, them dolphins. So anyway, she was just looking at him like, okay, it seemed to excite you, Maybe we do that sometime, And he was like, yeah, them dolphins. Now, as soon as they went past the dolphins, he went back in monotone mode and gave Brittany dust again. So, yeah. So anyway, as with anything, all good things must come to an end. And they leave from their honeymoons and they got to go into regular cohabitation with each other and see what that's like. So let's discuss these things. So anyway, with Kenneth and let's start with Kenneth and this is Kenneth. And this is Brittany. So let's start with those two. They show them going to, the only thing I remember, they show going to Kenneth's apartment, his townhouse or whatever it was. And it was, very neat, clean. They went to the refrigerator. There was nothing in there. But I just assumed that, he may have cleaned it out prior to him going on this Love is Blind event because, the food may spoil. So anyway, they looked in there. They looked in his seasoning cabinet. He had like 2 seasonings in there, and I was just like, one was Italian and one was something else. But anyway, so then they look around his whole place, and he was like, "Okay, you've seen my place, And he sat on the couch. And Lord, why did they give him their phones back? Because ever since he had his phone back, he's been in it. Do you hear me? He has been in it. And he is paying her dust again, okay? And so, she's just like, they're sitting on the couch. She's like, oh, yeah, it's really nice. And you could tell she really, really wanted that, wanted to try this, And something in me, and it could be something far, far back into me, tells me that Brittany wants black babies, like mixed babies, because I think that's what also made it thrilling to her, like, oh, I got this black guy to, really like me. I really like, I really would like to have some, some mixed children. And I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. So anyway, we go past that, and he's looking down. He just starts, he said, oh yeah, you like my place, and she's just like, yeah, it's really nice. And, he sits on the couch, and next thing you know, he's looking right back down in that phone again. Okay, well, okay. Long story short, later they show, Brittany, coming downstairs to the downstairs, and she's just like standing there. He's sitting there like eating some food. And she's like, she starts to, explain to him what she needs. She needs a lot of attention. She's an affectionate person. She needs, she's a lovey-dovey person. And he's just listening to her and everything. He said, well, it seems as though like, everything you're speaking is on your behalf. And it seems as though, your desires do not match up with, what I'm looking for either. He says that as much as I love you, I love myself just as equally. And, hey, God, will, get me through this just like he would get me through anything. And so would he do the same with you? She questions the status of their relationship, and he didn't like that. And he said her desires Is there, like her desire is her desire and his is not. He's got a serious cold side to him. And so he went back to the phone and he's just like, look, he went back to the phone. And so she's just sitting up there looking at him. And then the next thing, he's like, you know what? He comes back with, I'm, you know, uh, I don't think this is going to work then, and we both have to come to the realization it's just not going to work, and be okay with it. So, that little cold side of him came out, and he got up from the seat, and he said, just to show that there's no hard feelings, he said, give me a hug. They hugged each other, big bear hug. She was like, I don't want to let go, I don't want to let go. And he was like, he said, okay, like that. And so he looked back down his phone again, and he looked at her, as like, you good? And she was like, yeah. And he like, peace out. I'm telling you, that's how that went. Okay. I was just like, wow, dude is cold. uh but I don't know if I'm going to insert that the other video in there or not. But there's another somewhat review I did on Kenneth, and I still say that I get bisexual vibes from him. Okay. And maybe it's just me or whatever, but I still feel as though I get bisexual vibes from him. And that might be why he wasn't so turned on by Brittany or whatever, because she was a beautiful woman. But not only that she was a beautiful woman, maybe she just wasn't, on the same, wave level, what he was looking for or whatever. But some men are looking for beards. That means that they're looking for someone to be on their arm candy, but they like to still have their cake and eat it too. They want to have, a good looking woman, at home and cooking and raising the babies. But in their spare time, they might be on the down low. Okay. And so I don't know. And I'm not saying that's him. That's my opinion. So we're getting Jeremy right here and this thing right there, Laura. Jeremy shows his house off to Laura, and right away, right off the back, she's like, he's like, well, what do you think my house is going to be like? And she's like, probably, really tiny. It's like she never says anything like just super nice to him. It's always like a little stab. And so anyway, I'm gonna preface this by saying they both said that they were neat freaks in the pods. Okay. So when you get to Jeremy's house, it's neat as can be. He's got a very neat gym and a garage, and it's, his kitchen is neat. He has dishes, and she acted like she was surprised he had dishes. I mean, so what? A man has dishes. I mean, should he not have dishes? Should he have red Solo cups like Izzy from last season? So his bed and everything was clean, but why didn't they take their shoes off when they laid on the bed? I just cannot stand outside. You know how many things you pick up on your feet, on your shoes rather, when you're walking outside. Anyway, I digress. Oh, and while they were there at Jeremy's place, he showed Laura his sleep apnea unit, and it didn't look too bad. They some of them look like crazy, but his didn't look that bad. He had a little nose one, just went just around his nose, and so and it didn't seem that loud or anything, so that was interesting. Okay, so just speaking of the houses and everything, so anyway, as far as showing homes, Jimmy showed Chelsea his home. It's very neat, very clean. She was surprised to see, wow, your place is huge. He has a washing machine and dryer in his closet. It was really, well organized and everything. So one thing I have to say about Jimmy is, though, he may not have seemed extremely impressed with Chelsea when he first met her. However, I feel as though he really likes her. He really does. But with the insecurities that Chelsea has, always wanting to be told that he loves her, she's going to run him away. you know, and she's going to make it so that, you know, he doesn't even want to be there because of, you know, the way that she, you know, she acts. You know, she's had a lot of past issues with men, and that seems to keep coming up in their relationship, is that, you know, she's always giving, 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 and, you know, men are always taking, taking, taking. So, but she can't bring that into this relationship and thinking that it's the same. She made one of the worst mistakes is doing a comparison to someone, which was like Megan Fox at the time. Never compare yourself to someone, because all you'll do during the whole relationship, you know, the entire relationship, is making comparisons. And so that's something that hopefully that she learns from this experience. But yeah, his place was really nice, and she said that she would probably move into his place. And so, you know, that's what they're going to be doing. He said that he is, the day that she met his friends, the day that he met her friends, sorry, you know, she was sitting outside with them before he came in from work, and she was just like telling them, yeah, but I really did love Trevor. You know, she told her friends that she loved Trevor. Like I said, she's very indecisive, and she has a lot of insecurity. She don't know what she wants. And so Jimmy had already proposed to her first. And then Trevor asked her those hard questions. Well, if it was me, would you have said, and she couldn't even answer that. So, she goes around and she tells everyone about the size of Jimmy's, his peen, and it, like it's thick or whatever like that. If she keeps on saying that, someone's going to try it out on her, So I think that she needs to calm down off of that. The girlfriends come over, they try to be all, they love the ring and all that stuff. Jimmy, in Chelsea's eyes, Jimmy didn't pay her dust. He basically didn't even kiss her all day, and she's whining about that. But later on, he ends up telling her, well, hey, I bit my lip or something earlier, and I didn't, I really didn't, he said he did kiss her, or something, but he had bit his lip or something. And, he had used the word clingy. And so that really made her upset. And she wants him to stay. She wants him to say he loves her every day, and his dying a commitment to her and everything. But anyway, after he mentions the word clingy, he just thought that he'd leave for the day because she just really got upset over that. So, okay, let's go to Clay and AD. This is Clay. That's AD. Okay. Clay and AD end up going to Clay's townhouse. It was a nice townhouse. Nothing, it's roomy and everything. He has an upstairs, downstairs because it's a townhouse. He has some really nice T-shirts that AD tended to like. He showed his bedroom, and I'm like, who are those people on the pillow in his bedroom? I mean, looks like that kind of, it looks like that kind of pillow would be like in a front room area or something. I believe that it's his family, but it seems as though that kind of pillow though would be, like more so compatible in a bedroom. In a front room situation, But anyway, she was just very impressed by his house and everything, and she was thinking about, well, you know what? I think that I think I want to stay here, and so this would be good. Yeah, I could see myself fixing food in there and being a wife. Yeah, So how AD talks. So, so anyway, coming right back. To be honest, I don't remember Johnny and Amy showing their houses off. Yes, I do. I remember them going over to Amy's house, and I remember her speaking of her grandfather. They were looking at the picture, and a sentimental moment came over. But other than that, I really don't remember like if he liked her place. I believe that they're both renting. I do know that Johnny. Even though he looked like a playster, sort of a playster, because he was playing chess and cards with himself in the pots. It looks like he's a very serious thinker. And one of the things that he wants a house. He's tired of the whole renting situation and everything. And Amy, who looks like Fran Dresser, like I said, I believe that that's what she wants too. They seem to be on the same vibe with that. They have a 5-year plan for children. Let me point them out right away. I'm sorry, they're over. Where the hell? Oh, here they go. This is Amy and this is Johnny. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Both of them. Okay, so it seems as though they're both good for the 5-year plan for children, but it seems as though they need to figure out what they're going to do as far as sexually. That's just on the table. As long as they hang around each other, they be around each other, chasing each other around the house and everything like that, they're going to get hot and bothered. Things going to happen, and something's going to happen that they don't want to happen too early. So someone needs to move on getting birth control, either her or him. She has anemia. She doesn't want to get on the pill. Okay, girl, there are other things out there that you can get on that does not have side effects like losing blood and things like that. So there are other options. Johnny, of course, there are you can double up. Like Johnny can wear a condom, and you can do whatever it is you need to do. Whatever that thing they put up in themselves, AED, whatever they call that thing. Excuse me, y'all. Not an AED. That's a defibrillator. But IUD, they use the IUDs, they have the patches, it's so many things out there for women, for people just not to say, well, let's not try to get pregnant, because and I know that when you get hot and physical, things go down. So instead of doing that, both of you guys need to be on a fast plan and a fast track to getting on the birth control so that you can have the life that you want. So that's basically all I have on them. So anyway, it's a scene where you see Jessica and Laura meeting up, and they both meet up at the what am I looking at? Hold on a second. Anyway, there's a scene where they show Laura and Jessica meeting up at a bar, and I guess, in the pod, Laura and Jessica got sort of close, even though if I were Jessica, I wouldn't trust Laura as far as I could see her, because she was the first one to run over to her and say, oh, yeah. Once she found out that Chelsea was with Jimmy, she was just like, well, yeah, he's not your man. That wasn't for her to say. It was for her to find out just naturally. But anyway, I digress. Laura is a ish starter. Like I said before, she's a ish starter. And Jessica was just like, yeah, I heard that he's with Chelsea, and, she's an adorable girl or whatever, but, she's not me, and, she kept doing these comparisons. Well, she's not me. And once he sees me, he's just going to have a fit and everything, Jessica is a very beautiful young lady, but, hey, a man likes who he likes, period. And of course, if a person could see you and they could see Chelsea, he would probably go for the Jessica kind, because she said that she looked in his social media, and almost every girl that she saw him with looked more like her, Jessica. Then Jimmy sent her a friend request, and 8 hours later, Jimmy withdrew it. Jessica saw him already. She saw him already. And Laura asked that if, is he still her type? And she said yes. And Jessica said even if he were butt ugly, she'd still just close her eyes and listen to his voice. That's what she said. Laura then says that Sarah Ann is, basically, overstepping her boundaries with Jeremy, and that she sent him something on social media, and basically, Laura took a screenshot of it off of Jeremy's phone. Basically, she went into his phone and took a screenshot of it, and she read it to Jessica, and it said something like, and then she said something like she had the audacity to say, if you haven't found what you're looking for, look me up, basically, and she said, well, what does this ring on my finger mean? Doesn't that mean that he's found what he's looking for? And so, Laura was mad, but Jessica asked, if he answered, And Laura said no. And then Jessica said he's okay. He's in the clear then. There's nothing wrong with that. Team Jimmy. That's what Jessica said, Team Jimmy. And she's like, oops. And then she says, Laura says, you still stuck on Jimmy, huh? And Jessica was just like, it says a lot, that, she still like thinks about him a lot. So anyway, Jessica had asked Laura, do you think that he would want to see me? And Laura said, yes. So that was their conversation. Okay, guys, we're all the way down to episode 9. I'm just going to speak on Jimmy. Jimmy left. Remember, he left, because he said something about being clingy, and he left. But he came back. And they basically discuss, and she cries and said that he was just explaining that he felt smothered. They made up, basically. Okay, as far as Laura and Jeremy, Laura is cutting some flowers and with no water in the vase. And so, but then she wonders why it kept tilting over. And so, Jeremy had just said something jokingly like, yeah, one of us got to be smarter. So he said, you got to put some water in it. So he goes to put water in it. And then she tears him down again and said, I have a college degree, and he's like, I know a lot of people with college degrees that didn't do anything with it pretty much. It's just as dumb as can be. But anyway, I think Laura was more anxious than Jeremy with her meeting her parents. The mother and her do not get along. You could tell mother and her does not get along. Her mom knows she's a mess. Okay. So then Laura tries to bring to light a threesome that was going on between her, Jeremy, and Sarah Ann. Okay. Now, she mentioned that love triangle in front of the family, and that there is a love triangle. And, everyone was like, okay, that's okay. It's a dating show. It's okay, And I can't tell you how many times I saw the dog. The dog just couldn't even walk around. Everybody just kept picking up the dog, Laura had the dog, and then Jeremy had the dog. Every time they was expressing themselves, they held the dog. So the dog was there for comfort. Okay, so Laura criticized his Hawaiian shirts, and her sister-in-law and her brother said, well, that's cool. Everybody was just like, that's cool. I mean, who are you just to criticize somebody in their Hawaiian shirts? It's something that he likes to wear. So what? And even her sister-in-law said, well, if my husband likes those Hawaiian shirts, guess what? I'm getting a whole bunch of Hawaiian shirts, But anyway, the mother says if he can put up with what she puts down, then he's a keeper, So basically the mother knows Laura very well. And knows that her daughter is not easy to get along. And the dad says that she loves to be put up on a pedestal. So that says a lot about her. Her mother told her to get it together, because it seems as though that, there's a lot of mean things being said to each other, and they needed to like really get it together. And so she was sitting out there lastly with her sister-in-law, and the sister-in-law said that it was a good thing with the Hawaiian shirts. Like I said, she tried to bring it down. She tried to bring them down, but nothing is perfect. And she tried to put her on Laura. So she basically looked stupid even in front of her people. Amy and Johnny, they went to a dancing class together. It was very cute to see them, out dancing, learning Latin dance. And let's see. Next we have Clay and AD. AD finally meets Clay's mother and his sister. And the sister was very direct, had direct questions. Very beautiful young lady. And Clay's mom gives AD a scarf to put around her because it was a little cool in the restaurant. And her sister asks about Clay's work hours. AD expressed that Clay chooses convenience over comfort. I mean, he chooses convenience and comfort instead of coming home. And Clay has a problem in getting out of his selfish ways. He said that she will be home. She'll be starting the job. She's not working right now. She'll be starting the job where she'll be coming in at 2 or 3 a.m. When she gets back to work. So what's the difference, you know? And, you know, he was real like belligerent about it and everything. And so, you know, the mother's looking over at the sister like, oh, here we go. She said, it's what you do. You know, AD said it's what you do with the time that matters. And she didn't back down. That's one thing about AD. She didn't back down. So AD took the scarf off. And when AD took that scarf off, I was cracking up. She was just like, okay, because she got hot after that. You know, he didn't got her hot. Then Clay asked, so what's the problem? And she looked at him. She bucked like, AD was shook like, oh, really? You gonna talk to me like that? And so anyway, the mother and sister like, oh, Lord. Oh, boy, you know. So anyway, but the mother says it's about grace, okay? And she looks at her son when she says that, you know, it's about grace. And then the mother gives her spiel about how long she's been married. And, you know, and she, you know, she's just telling them, hey, you know, it takes experience. It takes a lot of give and take. And AD smiles at Clay. I don't know why. But anyway, like, yeah, honey, it would have been like we need to talk, you know. But anyway, you know, it looks like after the talk, you know, AD was good and she smiled at Clay. I guess everything was good. Chelsea meets Jimmy's Chelsea meets, hold on a second. Anyway, later they show Jimmy introducing Chelsea to his 2 good girlfriends. And it went okay, but Chelsea really doesn't trust women. That's her stance, but she likes them. She mentions that, you know, well, they asked, what do you know, they asked what I was wearing. So I know that they were pretty good about this. And so, but I think that Chelsea needs to know about, you know, how much to share and how much not to share, because it got a little uncomfortable after a while, you know. And you know, she started talking sex in front of his friends, and he just put his head down, like, you know. And, you know, she was talking about like, well, he doesn't want me to initiate sex anymore, and this, that, and other. And then she mentioned something about him crying during the do. And so the one girlfriend was looking like, oh, you cry, you know, like that. And she was the main one, the one that's standing closest to him. That's the one that Chelsea need to keep a little eye on. That's the one Chelsea need to keep a little eye on, because she was just looking at him. Oh, so he cries. Oh, you know. And so then the girlfriend goes to tell us everything while Chelsea is silly. So anyway, hold on a second, guys. So then one of the girlfriends said that, you know, when they was talking about initiating sex, and the one girlfriend said, yeah, well, he would never turn that down. And so I'm like, well, how would she know? You know? So anyway, you know, if you look back at that area of that meet and greet with the 2 girlfriends, like I said, that girlfriend knows a lot about Jimmy. I'm just saying. So Amy meets Johnny's family. Amy meets Johnny's family, and they come in and they're really, you know, loud and everything. She's like, oh, I love it. My family's real loud too. So, you know, they enjoy each other's, both of them, Johnny and Amy, they cooked, and they checked out, his sisters checked out Amy's ring, and they were just like, oh, it's just so beautiful. And Amy said that her family is loud too. So like I said, they would gel, and they had really good conversation at the table, and the sisters were cute. And then one of the sisters even looked over and said, well, I guess love is blind, and it was just so cute the way they said that. And, but really was the kicker was that Amy knew that Johnny was almost named Stone, and the sisters just went berserk. And they were just like, oh no, oh yeah, we like her, we approve. So it was just so cute. All right, then lastly, we're gonna get to Laura and Jeremy. Jeremy stayed out all night, honey. He was gone all night. Okay. He was sitting downstairs and Laura came down there. She's like, oh, how the heck did you leave at 10? You've been gone since 10:45 a.m. and you don't get back to 5 o'clock a.m. You know what I'm saying? And so, no, I think 10:45 p.m. and he get back to 5 a.m. or something like that. What were you doing, Jeremy? She kept on asking, what were you doing, Jeremy? And Jeremy just, he held to his story and he said, hey, I'm just going to tell you, Sarah Ann was there, and so, Laura's just sitting there like, I told you that this would happen. I already knew, and she hugged, Sarah Ann hugged him and they hung back and they talked, quote unquote, okay, till 5 a.m. Yeah, right. Laura was, of course, mad, and she was mad that Jeremy didn't shut stuff down early on so that this wouldn't happen, because, if a man really wants something, shut down, he would shut it down himself, and just say, hey, I got a woman, I'm good, But anyway, she walks off and she said, okay, I'm done. And that was the end of episode 9, you guys. Now I'm going on to these next few series. It was announced that the reunion will be March the 13th, which is just in a few weeks. This is a fast season. And it was really hard to really do reviews on this because everything is happening so fast. I think we get like 5 episodes in one night. And it was hard for me to catch up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I got a couple of polls after this. Please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Please help me grow my channel. I got a couple polls coming up after this. Please look at it and enjoy. And what are your opinions? Please leave your comments below. Bye.